Utah at BYU, the Holy War, as it is rightfully called. BYU plus 3.5 right now at home. I mean, we've seen some classics in this game. I love that this rivalry is being reintroduced uh, with this new Big 12 look. I love the fact that we get to see these guys play all the time, and that rivalry gets heated. I know a lot of the fans that are going to be watching this are BYU and Utah fans. You guys know, but for those that are not Utah or BYU fans watching this, you have to know that this is one of the most intense rivalries in college football. And I know it's specific because it's very regional, but it is very intense. You got a BYU team that's undefeated right now in conference and 6-0 overall. And you got a Utah team that's 5-1, 2-1 in conference, with their only loss being to Texas Tech. A Texas Tech team that really didn't pull away into the fourth quarter because that was a 10-3 ball game heading into the fourth quarter. And that Texas Tech team, we've talked about it, potential national championship contender, which is wild to say. So yeah, Utah was in a game in the fourth quarter with a national championship contender just a couple weeks ago. So I get why they're 3.5-point favorites against this BYU team that's undefeated right now. BYU coming off of a game against Arizona in which it went to overtime. That's an Arizona team that I think is a little bit better than maybe I thought, and I think everyone thought it was going to be this year. Brent Brennan, I think he's a solid coach. I think Arizona fans and myself were maybe a little bit quick to judge the results of his first season. So, CD, where are we at with this game?
Yeah, I mean, BYU is obviously the ranked team in this spot here, but Utah is no slouch. I mean, we talked about their only loss. I guess they're ranked. They got ranked this week, but like they got embarrassed by Texas Tech in the second half. But also like Texas Tech, they kind of leaned on them. Dampier was kind of missed some throws. You had like the weird callback, with Fano going down the field, and that kind of totally changed the momentum in that football game. Listen, you talked about the Holy War. Like, this game is hard to predict. It's hard to feel strongly one way or the other because it's always going to be so close. It's going to be so tough for either of these two teams to get a win here. I think Utah is a good football team. Like, a good football team. I know BYU, has been okay. Actually, pretty darn good this year. They got some talent. You had some weird stuff going on with your quarterback situation with Redshirt sending him off. Bear Bachmeier has been about as good as you could have asked for a young kid to come in and step in and play big time football for you for a contending team in the Big 12. It's about as good as you want it to go. Obviously, statistically, like, these two teams are about as good as they come offensively and defensively, playing complementary football. BYU, though, when they have gotten to conference, they have started to give up a little bit more defensively than I think they would have liked to. Utah has stayed pretty stout. I understand their conference wins outside of Texas Tech a little bit less in like West Virginia and Arizona State without Sam Leavitt, like, not quite as impressive as you'd want that to be. John Henry Daly is a star, man. I cannot believe more people are not talking about him. A couple forced fumbles, 8 sacks, defensive end there for Utah. He's an in-state kid, so this game means something to him as well. Look forward to seeing him. A healthy Devin Dampier. We know they like to get him moving in and out of the pocket, running the football, throwing the football, getting him involved, and making him a focal part of that offense. You've got some really talented players out wide for Utah this year you haven't really had in the past. It's going to be a tough environment, man. You're favored by 3.5. I think that line's about right. I like Utah, probably closer to a touchdown. I expect them to win this football game, but boy, oh boy, we know better than anybody. Like, this game can go either way, no matter what the score, no matter what the teams are playing, no matter what the records are. It's always going to be a good one. But I like Utah on the spot. You're on mute there. Uh-oh.
Mute button absolutely deleted me right there. Daly, like you were talking about, stud player, right? 28 pressures on the season, obviously 8 sacks, like you talked about. BYU's got some dudes on the defensive side of the ball that you like. Isaiah Glasker, dog. Got some solid corners. They've been turning the football over quite a bit this year. They've shut down the run for most games. You talked about Utah's in conference schedule. I'm not going to go over and look at BYU's in conference schedule and be like, oh my gosh, that's so much. Their wins are so much better, right? It's West Virginia, Colorado, and then Arizona on the road in an overtime win. Like that's a good win right there. I mean, BYU being battle tested, that's going to help you in this football game. That's absolutely going to help you. Being at home, I think that's also a big deal, man. You just never know. Like, you just never know with this football game, in this rivalry, like what's going to happen. Like, whatever team you think is better, just throw it all out the window. Okay. I think like whenever you're picking this game, it actually just is genuinely a toss up. I'll go with Utah reluctantly. I I don't even think that the coaching staff is necessarily that much better. I mean, I do think the Utah coaching staff is phenomenal, and Kyle Whittingham been a stud there for years now. I think that there's a quarterback advantage. I think defensively they have a couple more playmakers that I like on that side of the football. Um, I just think like on paper and from what I've seen with my eyes, I like this Utah team a little bit better. Although I can say I didn't know if BYU was going to be able to do it again. Right? Remember Kalani Sitake was on the hot seat last year? Like going into last year? Isn't that nuts? What a job he's done here these last 2 years. Getting the coaching staff hires right and getting some players in the building that have developed into some really nice, talented football players. So I do like what BYU's done this year. I like what BYU did last year. But I'll still take Utah minus 3.5, even on the road. Scary. You almost should. It should be mandatory to take the home team in this game, but I don't know. I can't help but pick Utah in this spot. I'm sorry.